Right here, I've written down the top 5 reasons why I believe that you should build a good physique as well as a business in your kind of early years. So, what I mean by that is, teenager, young adult right now. If you're watching this, I'm guessing, you're obviously of that audience. And basically, what I'm trying to say is, I'm going to give you like my personal reasons why I think you should do those two things, and that is building a good physique and building a business at the same time, and why I feel like that can have a really positive effect on your life. So we'll just start, no specific order. The first one I want to kind of say relates more to business. I guess it relates to a physique as well, but anyways, imagine where you'll be if you just started now. So if you can imagine, right, you imagine you started that business or you started your fitness journey. If you started going to the gym, you started, you know, trying to make money online, you started it. Just imagine where after like a few years of doing that, if you did both as well, that'd be even better, right? But even just one or the other, just imagine how far you'd come in that time. So on this video, I'm going to link my old Instagram to here, just so you can kind of see how over time through fitness I've been able to build like a better physique than what I started with. That's like a 2 year journey, right? And that's one part of it, but then also to do with business as well, right? Like when I first started, and if you are just starting as well or thinking of starting, right, it's going to be like, it's not going to feel like crazy at the start, but as if you just imagine like in a few years time where you could be with it. So if I take it from my personal like own experience, I went from it, first of all, fitness wise, I went from being really underweight to now at like a really, really good point with my fitness, with my physique. I'm really actually like getting happy with my physique. Um, so that's one part, that's the fitness side. But then with the business side as well, I started year and a half ago, went through a lot of failures, a lot of kind of time that was just um not ideal, right? Not the most glorious, but I got through it, and then like a year and a half or so down the line, where I am now, making consistent income from it. So you can kind of tell the difference. It's a lot can happen in the time. So just imagine kind of where you want to be and how taking that just first step forward can actually get you to that place. And if you want it hard enough, you want it like you want to actually get to the point that you dream of, then you're going to be able to just put in the work and just imagine where you actually want to be and then get there as well. So that's the first one. Second one is what I this is a like a personal opinion, by the way. It's not a fact or anything, but I just believe this is kind of this is what I think, right? Starting working out, so starting going to the gym, starting doing home workouts, whatever you want to do, right? Starting to do some kind of physical exercise is easier than starting a business. Now, obviously, that's a controversial opinion right there, because some people might say the opposite, blah blah blah. But personally, I believe that's the case, and the reason for that is because fitness started my business journey, and kind of I went into fitness rather than business straight away. And I feel like when I went into the fitness side of things, it kind of just naturally came to me that, right, okay, I can improve my body by doing hard work and actually like trying every single day. So I could also improve my whole life on like the external and internal side by also, doing something like a business. And that's basically exactly what I did, came naturally to me. I saw the results coming in from obviously like working out and everything. I was like, well, if I can just apply this same sort of like concept of, working hard to get a good physique to working hard to build a big business, it's the same similar concept. But I feel like that first stepping stone of just giving me that idea, because I feel like when it comes to like the gym versus a business, I feel like in most cases you're probably going to see more enticing results from working out and properly training, and quicker results than you maybe would with starting a business. And I feel like if the best thing you can do when you're starting anything is to just get some results at the start, to know, to kind of like wire into your mind, this works. If I do more of it, I'm going to get more out of it. So this is the right thing to do, right? And if you do that with fitness, let's say you just start lifting weights and stuff, you get a little bit of like a, I don't know, like a bicep pump or something, and that just gives you that motivation. And then finally you get like veins showing, stuff like that, crazy stuff like that. You're getting stronger, all of that. That's the reason why the gym becomes a habit. Okay. And you'll know if you go to the gym as well, it's never, or at least it shouldn't be at this point, like a chore to go there. It should just be a daily occurrence. You just put it on your to-do list. Not even your to-do list, right? It's just there, isn't it? It's just a spot in the day. You go and work out, you go and build some muscle, stuff like that. It kind of becomes natural to you. That's exactly what you want to be doing with your work on your business. You want it to just be a natural thing. You want it to be a flow state. And the reason that I kind of mention this is because that first stepping stone, just getting that result from starting, is kind of what all links you into it. It kind of gets you obsessed with it. It gets you obsessed with, wanting to lift weights to get more results. And then you can also do the same thing with the business, right? Say, for example, you start a business, you get a sale, then you're obsessed with getting that sale. You're obsessed with getting more sales. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what happened to me. And that's how you can basically just find a way to just keep working and just actually get started successfully as well. Obviously, in some cases, you might just be really, really determined and none of that matters to you. But in most cases, this makes it a lot easier to kind of get started and sort of just get going with everything. Um, but yeah, I feel like the working out side of things was kind of easier for me to get started with, and it kind of all just depends on personal preference when it comes to that. But that was the second point, anyways. So the third point I'm going to say here is confidence slash ego. Now, when it comes to confidence and ego, they can link together. And what I mean by ego is I don't mean like this really high ego, being like arrogant and stuff like that. What I mean is just having some kind of ego slash delusion, slash being extremely confident that you are going to be actually able to achieve your dreams. Like, on the outside kind of things, if you say your dreams to someone who doesn't like, and what I mean by your dreams is like literally, that could be business, that could be physique, something like that. You might have some crazy wild dreams, which is perfect. That's what we want. Your wild dreams could be like, owning or earning like 20 million pounds or something like that. Like some like big dream. Okay. And to know, like, to people who don't believe that you can achieve it, it's going to be this like delusional thing, right? That it gets listed as delusional, stuff like that. And it actually seems delusional, but it's absolutely going to happen. It can happen. And that's what I mean by confidence slash ego, because you've got to have this confidence and this like ego to be able to actually believe in yourself fully, that you can make whatever you want to happen. You know, so that could be like the confidence that you can build a physique, you can look like whoever you want to look like by just putting in the hard training. The confidence that you can become a millionaire, you can become a billionaire by just putting in the work and doing what needs to be done. You need to have that confidence and that ego in yourself to know that you are like actually able to do that, okay? Because if you don't believe fully in yourself, if you don't have a full self confidence and an actual high ego and a high standard for yourself, then how are you going to achieve anything, right? Because if you don't actually believe that you can go and conquer, you can go and conquer getting millions of pounds, you can go and conquer getting a good physique, everything like that. If you don't fully believe in yourself that you can do that, it's not going to happen, right? You need to fully believe in yourself and have this like confidence slash ego around yourself to know that you can do it and you will do it. And like I say, building onto that is like achieving a good physique can help with this confidence as well. And that's why I link these two subjects together, because having a good physique, I know personally for me anyway, like when I see results and stuff from the gym, it gives me this confidence in myself, which can also like leak into the work as well. The work on the business and stuff, it gives you this confidence, it gives you this like sort of determination to think, okay, I've been training hard and I've been getting results from like working out. My body's looking better, stuff like that. I'm gaining muscle, right? So if I just do the same thing, if I put that hard work into my work on my business as well, the same thing's going to happen. And that's exactly how it goes, right? That's exactly what happens. So you need to understand that the work that goes into a good physique can be applied to the work that goes into a good business as well. Obviously, it's not the same process, but it's mentally the same thing. You got to turn up every day, you got to do hard work, and you got to, you'll see results. And that's why I kind of say I link them together and say it's like this confidence in yourself, because that's what it can unlock, right? You can see the results live within your life, what you're getting. and then obviously that gives you the confidence to kind of think, okay, this is possible because I'm actually doing it. And that's kind of another thing as well that I want to build onto there. When it comes to business, I think every single one of us, until you make the amount that all these people talk about online, you don't ever actually like. Obviously, you believe that you can do it and you believe this, but there's always that slight, like 1%, maybe even like 0.1% of you that has this like little bit of doubt, this little bit of doubt thinking, can you actually make this amount of money online, stuff like that. And for me, that was like hitting a 10K month. And then when I actually did that, it kind of just opened my eyes because I was like, well, I didn't like, I fully believed in myself, but I had this like 0.1% of doubt in others, whether like this was actually happening, whether it was all a lie or all the truth. But then I go ahead and do it for myself. And then I'm like, okay, this is actually real. I've actually done it, and now what's stopping me from like doing the same, like the process to get to 5 figures is just going to be the same for 6 figures, but you're just going to have to put more work in 7 figures and beyond. Once you know that you can generate that kind of money, then you basically unstoppable. There's unlimited leverage within a business, and if you know that you get that like concept and you get that amount of money made, you know that you can make that money, then it's kind of just like, okay, well, I've done this amount, so I can do this amount. Did this amount, so I can do that amount. You know what I mean? Um, and that's another thing you want to think about there, right? Like if you can just get that kind of first little bit of traction, that first sale, whatever, know it's possible. And then when you're hitting new levels as well, you can think the same, right? Like you're thinking, okay, 10K a month, is this actually possible for me? You do it, and then you're like, okay, now 100K, etc., etc. So that was the third point there. Confidence within yourself, and it can kind of link in with your physique as well. Um, Now, number four is probably one of the most important ones on here, and probably like, one that I can kind of relate to the most because this is the whole kind of reason why I started training, why I started a business, why I started you know, basically everything. And that is for becoming your best self. Now, personally, I have like, I don't want to sound like some, just other kid on social media or something now, but I've never enjoyed school, and I know like most of us don't, so it's not like some kind of wild statement here. But I just knew that like from me, like let me tell you a little bit of story, right? When I was younger, primary school, high school, or something, I was always doing something that was like not ordinary. Right. What I mean by that is basically I wanted to be like an actor and stuff like that. So I was always doing something, always wanting to be something more than sort of what was expected, right? Than sort of what school was going to be able to achieve, stuff like that. I've always wanted to be something more, right? I remember literally in high school, I'd be like writing stories and stuff like that, like full on like movie plans and stories. It was insane, right? My brain was just like all over the place. I was just wanting to do something. I'm really creative as a person, so that's kind of where all that comes from. But I just wanted to do something more, and that's kind of applied to me throughout now my whole journey, because this was even before I started like self improvement, before I started building a business, everything like that. This was like, you know, when I was still just like as a normal kid, but I was just really creative, and I've kind of pushed that over. And becoming your best self is really important, especially in this modern day and age, because so many people don't try it. So many people don't even like bother about becoming their best self. They're kind of just like, you know, they're just happy with kind of what's handed to them, right? Because becoming your best self is not going to be handed to you, right? No one's going to come and help you become your best self. No one's going to become, it's all down to you, really. At the end of the day, you can get mentors, you can get coaches, stuff like this. They're going to help, but all in all, you've got 24 hours in a day, and that is not going to, they're not going to be there 24 hours every single day. You've still got your own mind that is going to be, giving you doubts, giving you everything, right? It can be negative and positive. But the point is, becoming your best self is going to be like working on yourself. Now, working on yourself can really, affect you mentally and physically in a good way, because if you start by working on your physical state, it's going to help with your mental state as well. And, a good mental state and a good physical state is just going to help within business as well. And the reason is because the very, very famous saying, health is wealth, is completely right. Because if you don't actually like feel good within yourself, if you're not actually happy with yourself, then you know it gets to a point where sometimes it can get that like deep into life where you just generally like give up trying to change. You give up trying to like become a better version of yourself. And if you let it get to that point, that's kind of like the failure point, right? You want to like always want to become a better version of yourself. So whether that's physique wise, whether that's just general health wise and actually business as well. You just want to be like working on yourself and being able to become your best self, because like say in a day where it's kind in like a modern day age where it's kind of normal to just not really do anything, just have like the what's handed to you. It's harder, but also more rewarding to kind of go the opposite way, to kind of want to not use what's been handed to you, just kind of want to like go and figure out what you want from life. And I feel like that's the best way to do it, especially at a young age, right? Because some people will spend their whole lives just, following what's been handed to them, kind of just making decisions for their life based on what others, like someone else has told them to do. And you'll end up like 30, 40 years old, kind of just thinking, what did I actually do? What have I kind of achieved here? Is it what I actually wanted to do in my life? And by the time there, you're like halfway through your life already. And it kind of just like it kind of lets like makes you reflect on it. So what I mean by this is just kind of as like the younger you are, the more kind of you've been handed this thing on a plate. You've been handed these things out, and you've been sort of told what you should and shouldn't do, stuff like this. But you've still got chance, especially if you're in your teens, you're maybe early 20s or something. You've still got chance to kind of go your own way. You've still got chance to figure out what you want and go on your own path to figure out what you want from life. And I feel like working on yourself, starting with fitness, starting a business, stuff like this, it allows you to see your true self. Because you might get to a point where you start a business, you start working on yourself, and you don't even like either of them, and that is perfectly fine, right? If you don't like either of them, there's another life path for you, but at least you tried it. But likely chances you're going to like one of them, and you can have success for your whole life with either of them, really. Because like say fitness, you can literally make businesses around fitness, everything like that. So if you like one of them, then you're kind of sorted anyway. But the point is, you just want to be focused on becoming the best that you can be, that becoming the best of your ability, because God put us on this world to be able to do him proud, right? We're here to just be able to actually, give our best of like our ability, right? Because if you think about it, you wake up every day, you're blessed to wake up every day, right? You're blessed to wake up every day. You can function, and you can move, you can talk, everything like this, right? You're blessed to have that. And to have that and to not use that to become the best version of you is kind of just like not honoring God, or even like maybe if you're not religious as well, it's kind of just not honoring the fact that you've got this ability, right? You've got the ability to talk, you've got the ability to listen right now because you're listening to this, you've got the ability to do all these things. So why not use them? Because they're there for you, right? You got one life, and you might as well use the things that you've been gifted with, use the things that you've been blessed with, right? And you know, becoming your best self is just a version of that, because you're going to actually use your abilities to the best that you can. You're going to be using your brain power and your like sort of mental strength to build a business. You're going to be using your physical strength and everything like that, mental strength as well, to build a good physique. And you might as well just use these things that you've been gifted with, because why not? You've got the ability to do whatever you want, so why not do whatever you want? Okay. And the fifth one here is kind of more just related to both like business and physique wise. And that is growth in income and muscle means higher status slash better opportunities, speaking to others and being respected as well. So what I mean by this is that when you have a good physique, right? Because you could have a good business, you could have like a good income from your business, but you're not going to be really, unless you're like literally running around like in designer clothes, expensive watch, supercar, stuff like that. You're not really going to get noticed by other individuals, and you know kind of at the level where you're just building, you're not really gonna, or at least I'd hope you're not gonna just be going blasting loads of money on like designer clothes and everything like that. And I feel like that if you have a good physique and something that kind of sets you apart from, someone else, it's like this like, I mean, if any of you are watching this do organic dropshipping like me, it's kind of this wave factor, right? The wave factor of a product is obviously what makes it go viral. It's obviously what gets it views. And I kind of think the same way in real life that, you can have a wave factor about yourself, and this is just something unique about you, right? And you'll find in public there's not actually that many people who like are generally like really really athletically like built, right? And if you can be one of those people who are, you're just instantly going to be more respected, because people understand that you can't cheat your way to a good physique, right? You can't cheat your way to becoming built, and you can't cheat your way to having like these crazy muscles. Obviously you could do steroids and all that, but point is, you're not like, to have a naturally built physique, you're going to be very, very respected, because you can't cheat naturally, right? You can't naturally cheat to a good physique. And to have gone through the pain that it took to get that physique is going to be so respectable by not just other people who go to the gym, but just people in general as well. And these people also can be like high level networks as well, like people who own businesses and stuff. You're going to be respected because it instantly shows, without having to say anything, without having to introduce yourself. It instantly shows that you've got a good work ethic and that you can put in the work to be able to build a good physique over time. Because you got to have a good work ethic, you got to have a strong mental um, kind of ability to be able to go every day and train to be able to look like that. Okay, look sort of naturally built and everything like that. So that's kind of one thing there, because, and it's the same with income, like I say as well. Obviously you can like wear watches and everything like that, kind of give you better status, but it kind of all just builds together, right? This status, it helps you get these better opportunities, helps you like talk to these people who can open new opportunities to you, right? Because literally one conversation could open a whole new life path for you. One decision could open a whole new life path for you. And that's the kind of reason I made this video, because, just to make it kind of clear that like literally one thing can change everything, like literally one decision. And yeah, I mean, like I say, for me, that one decision was starting to get into fitness, starting to get into kind of weightlifting. Literally, right here where I'm standing is where I started, with just some dumbbells in the house and everything like that. And from that, I built on, and it helped. Like, it kind of sort of like motivated me, or not even motivated me, just pushed me to like get into the online business space as well. And then yeah, it kind of all just builds together over the years, and that's why I make this video, to just kind of make it clear that this growth and this opportunity that opens to you when you actually put in the work, and that when you actually like see growth in whatever you're doing, whether that's building your physique, whether that's building a business, either way you're going to have a better status and you're going to be more respected by others. And that's a really 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 gifted thing to have. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the whole video there. I've yapped a little bit there, but I've definitely provided some value, I'd hope anyway. But yeah, so that's kind of everything, because, you know, that's kind of my top 5 reasons why, if I had to tell my younger self, why he should follow the life path that, I've kind of planned out here, the kind of 5 things I've said here, that is kind of the reason why. And, if you're watching this, if you're just a beginner, if you just, you're thinking about starting, then there's your top 5 reasons. Do what you want with that information, maybe actually go and use it and do something useful. But that's the best thing to do, right? Just after this video now, you got all the top 5 reasons to do it. You got 5 outlying reasons why it's a good thing to start on your journey, whatever that may be. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna kind of end the video here. I am on holiday as well, starting tomorrow. So, I don't know if I'll be able to upload daily, but I'll definitely be uploading as much as I can. Maybe do a little vlog or something. I'm gonna be on the beach, so I'll probably do a video there also. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video and you took some value from it, please consider subscribing. I'm just posting my journey on here, also mixing in some valuable videos just like this as well. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.